So I just realized there's no question 3. So it's only question 4. So this is question 4, no question 3. It says, in lab, you're asked to titrate a volume of HCl with NaOH. So this is the analyte, and this is the titrant. It says, predict what the pH will be after adding 41 milliliters of NaOH. So the first thing we have to do is to determine the equivalence point. The nice thing is, because they are the same molarity, and it's both a strong acid, strong base, it takes a 1-to-1 ratio. The equivalence point volume is going to be 50 milliliters of NaOH. So if we're not sure, we can always convert. So 1 mole of HCl per liter, and I have 0.05 liters of HCl. They exist in a 1-to-1 ratio, and I know that my molarity of NaOH is also 1. So moles will cancel out, liters cancel out, moles cancel out, moles, liters, liters. So what that ends up being is 50 milliliters of NaOH. So in this case, I am before the equivalence point. So what this means is I'm going to have excess acid. So first thing I'm going to do is determine how many moles of everything I have. I have 1 molar solution, and I have 50 milliliters of HCl. So that's 0.05 moles of HCl. I also have a 1 molar solution of NaOH, but I've added 41 milliliters. Oops, I'm still writing with the, there we go, of NaOH, which gives me 0.041 moles of NaOH. You can see here that my acid is in excess, so I'm going to subtract the moles of HCl and the moles of NaOH to see how many excess moles of hydrochloric acid I have, and it's a very, very tiny amount. My pH equaling the negative log of, I have to know my new volume because I've added these two together, and it doesn't tell me that I can treat them, the volume change, as negligible. So it is important. So I had 50, I added 41. So my new volume is 0.091, giving me a new molarity of HCl of 0.0989. And that I'm going to go ahead and plug directly into the negative log of, and that gives me a pH equal to pretty close to 1. Okay, so that's after 41 milliliters, 9 milliliters away from the equivalence point. Now this says predict what the pH will be after adding 50 milliliters so of NaOH. This is the volume of the equivalence point, and because it's a strong acid and a strong base, the equivalence point is neutral, which would be a pH of 7.00. So I'm going to stop now and do the second half of question 4 on a separate video.